First of all, I'm probably gonna let you keep that red on because of your complexion. That brings out. And Mr. Marco got yellow, and you're going to take it off and probably put on yellow. Just so everybody know, this is a real Shark Tank audition. This has nothing to do with martial arts. It's numbers. What we're trying to push is Point MMA featuring Crazy Fit. We're trying to push that as look at UFC, look at Mud Run, and all that. It's my job to convince these people that this is the next biggest thing as UFC. All we need is somebody to put enough money for people to become real employees of just Point MMA. This has nothing to do with BAMS. This is Point MMA, a business that has the potential to be the next biggest thing for the martial arts industry. UFC was the next big thing for not just martial arts, but just people that love fighting as a whole. But it wasn't the next big thing for traditional martial arts schools. This is the next big thing for traditional martial arts schools and fitness for kids and the whole family. If we can get, I ain't gonna say if, but when God allows this to happen, to have a shark decide to invest to run a separate business from this that's solely focused on Point MMA, licensing, schools, and competition, where competitors and champions and promoters and everybody can get paid, and you got a staff that, just like you have here, you got a staff, a office person that gets paid to run the daily operations of this, and they can see that this can be the little league, just like in NFL. When they got little league NFL football, Point MMA is that for the UFC. That's what we selling. We got to convince them that, and the problem, and the convention is not really a big deal. But from the close, when we walk in, I guarantee you nobody else is prepared as what we have. That's why when we walk in, we got 1 minute. 1 minute's nothing. But the difference is the talent is the thing that got to whelm them because they don't know anything about martial arts. They never seen all that. They never seen the tournament stuff. As far as they concerned, is what you see in UFC. All they concerned with is how are you going to make whatever you're presenting something to skyrocket our ratings on TV before we take you from here to a live showing. The backdrop story of jail and all of this being $20 and every that is probably one of the biggest stories they could ever have on that show, because it takes everything back to the realness, the streets. Just watch everything on TV. Okay, so we understand that in itself is major. But let's look at this too. This dream, even though it only been started since last year, so the residual return is not that much, because y'all guys need to know that. The residual return is not that much, but nobody in the history of martial arts or even sports have been able to collaborate so many major brands together. That's what you guys got to think about. And I think we don't really, you're probably competing, but you don't realize it. If you look in every fitness magazine on the newsstand, they're advertising Mr. Olympia, the biggest fitness component in the world. No martial artist at this caliber had the sense to bring NASCAR and everybody together. If we can get the Sharks, I ain't gonna say if, when we can get the Sharks to see that just by aligning yourself with this, you will tap into a market that never have been tapped in before. What is it going to do for the martial arts industry? It will take all these schools to a whole new level, because now they can be competitive with UFC. Now they can sit back and they can have students coming in and calling every school with a Point MMA program when they watching what they see on TV. So when we walk in, our first thing is, we got 1 minute. So if it means martial artists has ever did what we're trying to do, it's one thing to go in and compete and do martial arts and do technique and do demos. We're not trying to do that. Nobody has ever had a martial arts program that was packaged like this where you can go in and sell it to somebody outside of your industry. The reason why it's packaged, because look at UFC and look at fitness. So we already got that laid out. So what we got to do is figure out some kind of way when we walk in there, they might, I don't know, they might have us in lines. That's why we're trying to get there. And we want to, if it means we got to sit out there imagine going to a real movie audition. If they got to open, you just got to sit in line like everybody else and wait your turn. Most people can't do that. And eventually, if you do a good enough job, you pass that and you don't have to go to the open call. You go to an inside, special, private call. But still, you got to be amongst a lot of people that's trying to qualify for this same thing. So this is a real audition. This is exactly like they do with TV and movies. So we're trying to get there. I'm thinking in the business concept, ain't that many people going to be showing up there for that. They're going to show up probably 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So we're sitting outside waiting till that time for us to go in. When we go in, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that they asked for an application, which we have typed and ready to go. And we got a book that's probably going to blow their mind with so much press and footage that is like, whoa, how in the hell, look. Like as Mr. Jeff said, and I need us to remember this, what we do today is not going to make them give us the deal. All what we're doing today is for the last 20 years. So we're not doing anything new. It's like you just needed people to come together, which was happening all this week before when I wasn't communicating with you guys. I needed people behind the scene at the desk, bringing together 20 years of what we've been doing in this school together so people can say, hold up. This Point MMA is not new. This thing probably $6 million. So it's worth a lot more than that when you talk about equipment and everything else and you talking about the gym. So what we're coming in and showing that chart, we already are a $1 million operation. So we already know what to do. Well, how is it that this is going to work? Because when you look in the book and you see all the board of director positions or regional things that we done did with NASCA, NAPMA, EFC, all these people, it shows that it makes sense for you to get behind us. So when they look out there to do whatever and you just got to go with the flow, what I'm saying to you and you, don't walk around. A lot of times when you go and do demos, you walk around, you start talking to people that you shouldn't talk to. Don't say nothing. Just sit down. You got to act like you don't know that role or whatever. And then when it's time to get up, don't ask a question about nothing. Just do it. And if you're going to do it, you got to do it at a level of 1,010%. You don't get a second chance. You get one chance. There is no dress rehearsal. There is no opportunity to for me to say, come on, give me energy, let's go. You gotta be ready from the time we in this truck and we going to DC, you already gotta be in an energy mode. And everything everything just happened. That's why, Ms. Kimber, nobody else is here. You gotta be able to flow with me. You gotta flow. If you see me walking this way, and that's why Ms. Kimber said, I just don't want to stand in your way. She don't even know about what's in writing. Don't nobody else know. Nobody even knew that this was coming. It's something that I decide and I know that I'm ready to do. So if I'm walking this way and all of a sudden I go this way, I don't need you to ask me a question. I need you to go and flow with it. But I need you to flow with it like in your mind, you already know what's going on. Because that's what got to be different from everybody else that look like they lost. We not lost. We professionals. We've been preparing for this since this door opened. Now here's an opportunity for us to step out and show it to you in a package that can reinforce the BAMs. But this is not the BAMs. This is not Willie.